All right, Jean Hinfey, what I'm going to talk to you about for the next 20 minutes is about implementing SAP successfully in a manufacturing environment, or at least some of the aspects that we need to consider to do that, okay? I'm going to start off by just putting it into a bit of context, and then what I'm going to look at is what a typical scope would be as well, because not everybody, would necessarily work right in a plant. So what's the breadth of what we're actually trying to talk about here and what we need to, consider for an implementation. And then you can also bring that into other industries as well for any kind of huge ERP implementation in your own business. Then I'm going to talk about specifically about it from a manufacturing point of view. So you're in a plant, what are the deliverables that you have to deliver? And then, what are the desired outcomes that we want to achieve from the project? And then also to talk as well about the cross-functional impact. And moving on from there, I'll talk about some of the key success factors for a successful implementation in your site. Okay, so just a situational context. So you're in a plant. You've been given notification that there's going to be an SAP implementation. So you've been going about your business. It's part of a corporate decision to do this. And it can be driven by a couple of different factors. It could be simply that there are a lot of standalone systems in your global network, in all your different plants, and now the time has come that we need to get to a standard solution. And it could be a number of waves of implementation that's going to happen. Or it could be that you have become part of this big corporation through a merger or an acquisition, and therefore you need to move into their common solution. All right? So it's not that you've gone out to decide. So my context is not that you've gone to decide what solution to employ. My context is that you're in your plant and now you're going to implement an ERP solution called SAP. All right? And how we think about that. So just to give you some idea about the type of scope that you could be talking about. So this shows a lot of different work processes involved in a manufacturing environment. My setting is FMCG, because that's my background. And as you can see from the big blue line, there's a lot of different work processes that are going to be affected by a potential SAP implementation. So the breadth is huge, okay? Within your work processes, you're going to have lots of other sub-elements within that are going to involve a lot of people, a lot of data, and people from all across the organization. That's the point here. And it's not just supply chain. I've been in a planning background for a long time, and every time one of these projects comes along, it's, oh yeah, planning will sort that out, okay? So it's not just the planning organization. It's manufacturing, it's the master data side, it's warehousing, it's shipping, you've got your maintenance and storeroom, obviously your planning function, and then plant purchasing and finance. Because you're not just putting in an IT system. You're putting in a new business process, essentially, okay? And that's the differentiation between any ERP system and just putting in Microsoft Office or some other desktop application, okay? It's going to change how you do your work today and how you're going to do it in the future. And it's going to involve all the interrelatedness between all your different processes. So that is really important for people to grasp when they hear there is going to be an SAP implementation in their plant. And the other thing as well is that the manufacturing process in production is core to this. I've been a part of this as well, is that we wrap a big arm around manufacturing when we say, yeah, you guys need to keep making the production and we look after everything else. And I've done an implementation that way and it doesn't always work, okay? So there is a way that we still need to continue the business, but we also need to make sure that we implement the business processes as they're going to be in the future. Because the people who are doing it today are the ones who are going to be running the system in the future. And that's, again, back to the whole people piece. So from a deliverables point of view, okay, so you've got a plant anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, and the plant has a business to run. It goes without saying. We've got X amount of cases to get out the door on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis, and we've got a pile of targets that we've got to deliver in any given year. We've got our safety, quality, cost, governance, customer service, inventory, productivity, process reliability, new products, build the capability of the organization at the same time. So anyone who's worked in a plant like I have for a long time is very familiar with the amount of KPIs that you've got to deliver year in, year out, and show a percentage improvement year in, year out. So let's take it, we already have a lot going on, okay? Work. And that's the annual business. Then we've got a project to do, okay? So we've enough going on, and with the project then, let's get this to catch up with me. Okay, so then we've all the different phases of the project. And that's got to be delivered in 10 months. And the two of them have to be delivered in the same time period. Okay? So that's enough to make anyone want to go home, okay, and not come back to work for a while anyway, until someone tells me how that's all going to get done, and so on. But we can't stick our head in the sand, right? We're the leaders in the plant, and it's up to us to be able to come out with the best solution on this. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is, in a context point of view, the complexity level of an SAP implementation in a manufacturing site is huge, right? So, but as leaders of the organization, right, whatever your role is, or if you're on the plant leadership team, or if you're the, you're an operations leader, or you're a planning leader, or, you're looking after the material handlers, you have a way to think about this on your site, okay? Because believe me, it's not going away. Once corporate come in and SAP implementation starts happening, you have nowhere to go. So we need to accept that this is actually going to be part of the business for the next number of months. So with that in mind, we need to think about the desired outcomes. So we're going to be we're going to be tasked with get the go live on schedule within budget. But from our point of view, we need business processes that we can operate to deliver the results. I've already laid out the deliverables that we have. So with those in mind, whatever the processes are that we're going to have to implement, right, we might have some influence on them, but my experience, not a lot. But at the same time, we still need to be strong enough to understand that we've got our KPIs to deliver. We're going to put this system in with new ways of doing business, and I still need to be able to deliver my KPIs. So keep that in mind. The robust IT infrastructure needs to be in place in terms of the hardware, the scanners, the Wi-Fi. I know myself trying to install extra scanners in one area of the factory. We need to extend the whole system. Had that been considered? And then it's going to come back to the users and training. The users are the people who are going to interact with the system on a day-by-day basis. So I can't plan what I'm going to make for the UK tomorrow if I don't have the right material in the warehouse, or I don't know what the latest process orders are that have been confirmed. And that happens 24/7 around the clock. So every time anyone touches the system, we need to make sure that they have the tools to do their job and do it accurately and do it with pride. People want to do a good job. They want to know that, whatever they're doing day in, day out, they know how to do it and they know what to do and they're going to want to do it right. Then the key user concept. So this can be like subject matter experts might be another way of talking about it, or the key users. So basically, we need to make sure we put the infrastructure in place that we keep people really knowledgeable about their own areas, and so on. So from plant leadership team, so this is just a typical functional team that you'd have in a plant, all the different functions set out. And the thing is about doing an implementation, it's cross-functional. It's not just one function. So anyone sitting in the corner or sitting around the table thinking they're going to hide from this, they better wake up, because you can't. And if you don't get involved and have your seat at the table, you are not going to be happy with the outcome. And in fairness, if you're not at the table, I'd say you don't deserve to be happy about the outcome, because you need to actually be part of what's going on. All right? All functions are affected. Okay, so what needs to be true for success? So that's the context, okay? So now we're going to put an SAP system in. You might have it already, and you're moving to a different, different processes, or you might be coming from a different system or any type of ERP system. So looking at what would be the success factors and things to consider. Okay, so leadership commitment. Run through these. Leadership commitment planning. Okay, project management is good, yeah. Get the buttons to work here. Okay, plant implementation, resources, data, training. So I'm going to spin through these, okay? A lot of these concepts, none of them are new. You read about them anywhere. I just want to emphasize a couple of key points on this, and this is coming from my experience of being involved in a number of these projects. Okay? I've done it the hard way, and I've done it the less hard way. I have yet to find the ideal way, but I do believe that these are the things that we need to focus on. Okay, so leadership commitment. So we all talk about leadership, yeah? But the truth is, if it doesn't come from the top down, it's not going to work, all right? And that is the truth. Because there are going to be times as a plant when you've got the decision to make on priorities and what you're going to do, your resource decisions, your timing decisions, new product introductions, with all this going on, and you need leadership somewhere else in the world or somewhere else for outside your plant to help you guide you through those decisions. So I just got a quote here from A.G. Lafley, who at the time was the CEO for Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble bought Gillette, another big company. And they just decided, and that was part of the strategy, whoever we buy goes into our system, end of. That's our standard, that's what we do. So that's clear diktat from the top, this is what is naturally going to happen, all right? So that was part of his success criteria for his leadership team, that this all had to be singing and humming over time, all right? Then you've got potentially some regional business unit leadership, and you need their commitment, because you need to make sure that they're actually aware that there's a project going on in your plant, even if you're reporting into an EIMEA function, and they're actually clued into what you're going to be doing over the next 10 months, as well as deliver your customer service, your inventory, your cost reductions, and so on and so forth. So don't just take it for granted. Check it. Make sure that everyone's clear on what the timeline is and what's going on, right? But key is going to be the plant leadership team commitment, okay? Because you're the guys and ladies who are going to have to bring this home and still keep your plant intact at the end of it all. Keep everybody together, everybody calm, and see that you're going to come out the other end, and it's going to be, it's going to be choppy waters for a while, but you need to be there at the beginning and the whole way through. And that's a question that each leader in the plant team needs to really talk to themselves about. It's like, what's my role in this? How am I going to show up about it? When everybody else is giving out about everything that has to get done and so on and so forth, right? Have I actually accepted that there's a huge change coming and that my life is going to change? So that's a big thing as well from a leadership point of view, is actually just facing up to that. Because we need to help our people get through the difficult bit. So, key message from this one, leadership has to come from the top. It has to permeate the whole way down, okay? Your plant manager, your functional leaders are going to be still delivering all of their major KPIs. They have to be clued in. They need to know what's going on. And as well as that, it's not going to work if they don't, because they need to help bust the barriers as well. They're going to come along the way. Okay, moving on then. So from a planning point of view, like any good project, it needs to be planned. Planning has to happen at the beginning. The more planning you put in the beginning, the better the chance of success that you have. If you don't plan, so you might say plan to fail or plan to succeed, one or the other, okay? So you need to be planning, and you need to be at the table, and I keep coming back to this. So at the very beginning, when you're doing your fact finding and you're doing your mapping and matching, and you can say, yeah, I'll send Mary off to do that and Joe to do that. As a leader in the plant, you need to get in there yourself and understand what's going on. You don't necessarily need to know every nth detail, but you need to have an appreciation about how the teams are interacting. Are they getting the detail down? Because don't forget, my experience is that you put two people together and get them to describe a process, I guarantee you, the two outputs will not be the same. Yeah? Because everybody, in the end of the day, you think you have a standard in a place, they're still slightly doing it differently. So you need to get your process maps out, your post-its on the wall, whatever that is, and get clear on how we are running the business today. Then you can understand how the impact is going to change. So planning at the earliest stage is critical. Project management. Project management skills are essential, and there's one thing I would really look for key in the next implementation would be the project manager that you appoint. It's really, really fundamental that they come from the business, because they know the business, and they need to have an appreciation for systems, because they're going to be dealing with a lot of systems people and a lot of business people. So you need to be able to, have the row when you need to have the row with the systems people, and be confident as well in what you're trying to do. But the other side of it is that they need to have some project manager fundamental skills. I think that's really important. And so take them out for a couple of months or send them on a course somewhere and at least give them some framework to project manage something. Because we all do our day-to-day jobs. And there's a lot of elements in project management everyone will recognize. But it's really important as well just to put some structure and formality around that. Because then I think it'll equip them better on behalf of the plant to manage the project. So from our plant implementation team, so the team essentially is going to do the work. They have to deliver all of the different deliverables on the project. This is the hard bit, right? Because no one wants to give up the resources. You know, I've got all my stuff to deliver in operations. I've got all my goals to give in supply chain. I know who'd be perfect for this project, but I can't afford to give you them because we've got too much work to do. And that's the bit that you need to work as a plant leadership team, because you need to have the strength in there, and you need to have the dynamic and the synergies between people, and you need someone who's going to be an advocate for your area and knows the business processes. So I would really, really, contemplate that deeply about who is the person to put on the team to represent the production systems, the warehousing systems, the shipping area. Someone who you can grow. This is a brilliant opportunity to build someone's capability and a future leader potentially in your organization. Because these are the people, when everybody else is cleared off after hypercare, are going to be running the processes for you, and that you're going to be going to as the go-to people for the next types of implementation. So really think about that. So you need the right people, and then you need to also, they're coming together as a team for the first time on a project to this scale. They're going to be dealing with loads of other little groups, groups of people coming in from around the world potentially, and with your own, the plant leadership team, the senior leadership team from other areas of the globe. So you need to help them, form as a team. Be clear in their expectations. How is it going to impact with their daily tasks? What are the interdependencies that they have? And, help them work best as a team. And recognise as well that there's going to be times when it's not going to be going smoothly, and also gives them a chance to, they need coaching. So resources we talked about, and that is a capability investment. And then also think as well, if you can, and if there's any budget, at least fight for it. See who you can put onto the team full time. And then look at some backfills that you could bring into their current day-to-day roles. Again, a great opportunity to bring some capability into the organisation. And there might have been, I've seen great talents of people throughout the organisation who we've put in as temporary planners for the project, and then maybe they've gone back to their own roles afterwards, so they've transitioned back out. But as soon as a job came up, we were able to bring them on then into another role like that. And we've been able to grow the capability from within the organisation, because that's the key as well. We talked earlier on about keeping people in an organisation, to give them a path. Data. If I talk to anyone who's been involved in SAP, in any factory, any company around the world, the first thing they'll say to me is leadership. And the second thing they'll say to me is data. Okay? So a system is only good as the data you get. You're going to SAP or an ERP system that's real-time data. And that's the beauty of it. And you will get the benefit of that if you've got the right data in it. So if I am selling product in the UK and I'm looking at the factory that I worked in Newbridge, I get phone calls to say, right, when is the pallet going to leave the plant? That's the type of real time. We're able to take lead time down from 2 weeks down to daily planning. And that's the power of an ERP system. And I've now it took us a few years post-implementation to get there, but that is the power that you can leverage by having a good system and a lot of things in place, and that capability in the organisation. And to borrow the old phrase, it is a journey. There's no doubt about that. Okay, change management. Change. What do you do about change management? You talk about it, right? I only learned this in the last few years. I was going through loads of change all the time, but change is a topic. It needs to be, you need to put it out there in the organisation. Change is coming, change is going to happen. Change is not a negative thing necessarily, but it can be a positive. It depends how you think about it, and it depends how you're going to embrace it and what you're going to do about it. So as leaders, we've got to help our organisation get through the change, but we've also got to help our people understand how they can help themselves in terms of change. Okay? So I would say is embrace the topic and get the organisation talking about it. Because any good organisation who wants to continually improve and make progress, everybody in the organisation needs to understand that change is just inevitable. That's the only way to survive and to thrive. Okay, training and qualification. Training often gets left to the very end because you run out of time, you run out of money. We just need to get over the line at this stage, right? So plan it, commit to it. Senior leadership in the plant, you must release the people to get the training done. Otherwise, forget it, go home, okay? People want to be able to do their jobs properly. You need the right documentation in place. You need just simple documentation, A to Z. How do I do my job now? How do I book the product into the warehouse? How do I release the product to production? Okay? It doesn't have to be, it's not rocket science. You just need to keep it simple. And when you get the documentation from whoever your supporting group is, and it's not fit for a purpose, tear it up and make your own documentation. Get the key users to write the documentation, take screenshots, whatever it is. But when you hand it to somebody who needs to do their job in their shift in a specific time, they can follow it, they're happy, you're only going to get a better result at the end of the day. All right? Don't listen to anybody else. It has to work for what you're trying to achieve. Okay, I'm not pushing this the right way. Okay, ongoing support. So, post-cutover, post-hypercare, you need your support going on. If you're in a big corporation, it'll be laid out what that support looks like, what number to ring, what red button to press when it's all going a bit scary, all of that. So you need to understand what your ongoing support is. You need to have your key user network set up in your plant, commit to it, keep it staffed, let people go off and do their training with the organization, link with other key users. The other thing is as well, find out where your support is based, okay? I have examples of getting support from various countries all around the world, okay? There's practical issues. What time zone are they in, okay? How are you going to talk to them? Is it through your communicator session? Is it email? When are you going to get resolution? Understand what your SLEA is with them. If there's communication issues, if people can't understand, if you can't understand each other on the phone, you can't communicate with each other. So help your teams to manage with that. So they have the accountability to get the problem solved, but also empower them to do that. So it doesn't all come back to you as a leader to fix everything. So just check in with them that it's actually working. Okay, it's okay to bring this to somebody else and try and get it fixed. But again, this is not IT system in, cut over, good luck, get back to running the plant. This is a change in how you're going to do business. Okay, so in summary, it's complex. Hopefully I got that point across, all right? It covers a multitude in any plant. Some of the key takeaways for success: leadership commitment. So commitment, really, really important. And what I also highlight here as well is get the right resources, have the right data, confront, talk about the change that it's going to bring in a positive way, right? Help people through that, facilitate them to get, to remove barriers and train people. And it's training to learn, not training just to give them a manual and let them on. You need to coach them in their jobs. You need to measure how people are getting on and reward them for what they're getting right. Don't just always highlight what's wrong, because that's the great thing as well. Again, people have pride in what they do, so reward them for getting it right also. And then look at your ongoing support. Okay, thanks very much.